Awesome. Oh, I hit record, so I guess we're going. What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode.
This is it. This is the show.
Yeah,
oh, shit.
we're going. I hit record, and then it's episode 314 of Opinions May Vary. I'm your host JR, and my co-host with me Alex.
Oh,
our guest this week. You heard him a second ago. Believe it or not, that was them. They sound really clear. It's like they're in the room with us, but they're not because they're down in Maryland, I think. DC. Close enough. Joining us this week is the incomparable other congratulatory and complimentary adjectives is Ross. Ross, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, it's my pleasure to be here.
It is a very exciting. We have a lot to talk about, so I'm not going to try to waste too much time. But we have had the pleasure of talking with you and a lot of your friends many times over the past couple years, starting back in 2013. I can't remember.
I don't remember which one it was.
It was actually back in 24, just the year 24.
The year 24. It was, fresh after Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw you guys at Voltaire's Wicked Necro-Comic-Con.
Oh, Jesus.
If you can remember that.
Yes. Fun fact about that. My parents live in New Jersey, and they are the biggest fans of everything I've ever done ever, because they're that type of Jewish parent. But especially Art Fight. They love Art Fight. They've been to more shows than any parent of someone involved in Art Fight easily, and have kind of adopted the whole crew, which has been really wonderful. But anyway, they decided they wanted to come to it. Now, across the street from Voltaire's Necro-Comic-Con, which was a pretty straightforward comic show, was some sort of Voltaire-related goth sex orgy comic show.
So,
Wicked Fair, yeah.
Wicked Fair. It's when I break it down. I've been a couple times.
I'm so excited.
When I break it down, I start off with it's off-season Ren Fair, so it's all the Rennies have something to do in the winter. But then there's also kink involved.
There sure is.
And there's like bondage demos, and there's a flogging station, and there's sometimes an erotic hypnotist.
And okay, so I've derailed us already. I'm happy about that.
No, it's fine,
I hope
it's
you
fine.
are. But
it's what we do.
So they were in adjoining areas, and my parents are bad with directions. So what happened is exactly what you assume, where next thing you know, my parents are in some sort of how to tie knot session looking for us. And I got texts like, I don't think this is the right place. And I'm like, I don't think it is either, Mom. Yeah. So yeah, they were at that show somewhere at some point too.
And it was great because if you had a badge, if you had a ticket, you got
you go to both.
You got into both shows. They were like sister shows.
Yeah.
Just
I
at
was
different
so busy
hotels.
sitting behind a table all weekend that I didn't get to do that much. But it was a really it was one of those shows that was way better than it had any right to be for us. Because we go and we try and sell things and we hang out at the table all weekend. Mm-hmm. We do shows, and we hopefully we're used to bigger crowds. For the number of people I made more money per person at that show than I've ever made, in the sense that there was maybe 900 people walking around, but you would think from that I'd make $0, and instead I was like, okay, that was worth doing, not rolling in money, but okay, I paid for my toll tickets home. That's it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that show's never going to happen again. So
at least in that
ownership.
Yeah, there's been a whole mess of horrible, awful garbage that's gone on with that.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
because
that promotion.
I'm not trying to talk out of turn though. But the people behind the scenes of that whole scene, I have heard crazy stories. I don't know any of these people.
Yeah.
We've also run into Voltaire. We get hired. I think when cons think of hiring that a performative, fun, weird show, we're on that list somewhere. and Voltaire is on that list somewhere. So we run near him a fair amount, but have never talked to him ever. Or when we have, it's because like his show went over and we're like, thanks, jack off. And, can we do our show now? Thanks. And, stuff like that. But we've never really chatted for as many times as we've all been in the same place. But I find, I'm going to derail this already, like kink shows, I find so interesting because I had no experience in the kink world. And then one time, I was dating a girl who like wanted to check out what all that stuff was, and we went to like an intro thing, and I learned that it's first off, it is the people you see at conventions, which like it is Ren Fair and convention people, and like I was like, oh, I know all these people. Like I don't know if I literally know people, but I know all these people. Like definitely we could all sing the Trogdor theme together in unison, and it was the right crowd. And then it's like the nerdiest thing because the people that go, they're not like there to be super crazy. They're there to learn skills. So it's like such nerdiness of like, here's how you tie this knot. Here's how you tie the advanced knot. Here's how you tie the level 7 knot. Like it was all just like Boy Scouts, but boobs.
Your emergency safety shears, get the ones with the pink handle. Because when you're in the dark and you have black rope and you need to cut someone loose and you got your black scissors, you're never going to find them. You got to find them fast. Your bright pink ones. You're good.
That's smart thinking. That's just smart thinking.
That's thinking ahead. That's 5-dimensional chess right there.
That's something that I learned.
Yeah,
never used it. But.
So yeah, we had the pleasure of first seeing your, and I think I tell the story every time we have one of the crew. I don't know what that's so lame. On it was we
call it the roster.
The roster, yeah.
Artists.
And like we were walking through the halls, and we happened to be on the Voltaire side, the Necrocomic-Con side, and Alex was looking at the program because I typically tend to wander and I wind up not doing anything because I wander too much. And Alex was like, "Hey, I want to kind of check out this thing." And
Let's
we went
go
and checked
sit
out
in
the
this
thing.
chair, please.
And I was like, "What is happening? What is this? This is the best thing ever." And I'd be lying if I said, maybe that guy does have that weird like Middle European accent.
We legit thought that was his real accent.
Wow. That is the first time that anyone has ever thought Baron von Sexyful's accent was a real accent.
Because we're at a show, and I was like, at this show, it would make sense,
Yeah.
I can't fault that logic. And I like how non-judgmental you were. Like, just like, yeah, I'm sure that's real.
Yeah. Yep. And then at one point, a camera came out, and the accent was gone, and I was like, oh, okay, so it's not. That's okay. So now I know where this is.
Just drops it, and it's so funny because he's from New Jersey, and whenever he's in New Jersey, the accent really comes out. So he'll go from "Oh, hello, my beautiful peoples" to like, "Hey, how you doing?"
Oh, it's mildly terrifying.
Did
But
you come to the show yesterday? Oh, it's great.
yesterday, that's a good one.
Yesterday, yeah. That's when the Jersey really comes out top notch.
But since then, we've been to almost every show at ConnectiCon because that's literally our backyard.
Yeah, we're literally 10 minutes away from ConnectiCon.
Sweet.
So we've caught you guys there, and then has it been anywhere else
that we've seen?
Yeah.
Well, like Vicky didn't expect to see Mikey at New York Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Right.
She was kind of wandering and found small press section, and then was in one of her many cosplays. That was amazing.
Yep.
And she sees someone who's like kind of looking at her, and she's looking at them like we recognize each other but don't know where from.
Yeah.
And Mikey was with his booth for small press, and she just goes,
"Yeah,
Sababa!" Couldn't like get the words out properly.
Didn't she salute him too? I thought she saluted him. Yep.
Yeah.
She did the salute. But
nice.
And then upcoming is of course going to be PAX East next month, which is
we're really excited about that.
Have you guys ever been up to that show before?
So I have in a purely giving them money capacity.
Yep.
And it was a lot of fun. It was a couple of years ago now. And it was just, me and my girlfriend at the time were just like, yes, let's check out PAX East, see what it's like. And I'd heard amazing things. It's absolutely gigantic. And you get to, walk around and play video games. And then you get to get really excited about those video games. And then you're like, when can I buy this? And then they're like, oh, in like a year. And then 3 years later, you actually get to buy it.
And it's a completely different game.
But no, it's a lot of fun. I came back with a new board game from that show that is like one of those more complicated ones that you have to really convince people to play.
Yep.
And you're like, but no, it's fun. Trust me. Once we get through the first round, it'll take about 45 minutes, but then you'll really start going. Yeah.
There was an Onion article that was titled, it was like, friend reassures his friends every couple minutes that, no, trust me, it's fun, while explaining board game rules, which I totally get. Like, I have that. Yeah. I have that with Secret Hitler. Every time I introduce someone new to Secret Hitler, it's like, no, it's fun. Just because like everyone hates it at first.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. I have like party games and then like the hardcore games, and every game night I bring out the whole thing, and then everyone's like, oh, let's play a party game to warm up, and then we never get to the hardcore ones, like ever.
The good stuff.
Everyone's like, yeah, let's keep playing the goofy ones.
What's a hardcore one? I'm curious.
So for hardcore, I would say if it takes a while to explain the rules and it has multiple types of tokens, that's generally a sign. So Zombicide is on that list for me, which I really, really love and can never get anyone to play with me. Have you ever played that one?
I haven't. No.
Okay, so what I love about it is it's like a dungeon crawler. Like everyone is a character, and you're working together to complete different missions. And the boards are modular, and so it comes with like an instruction manual that lets you build 12 different configurations. And then one is like, you're at this side of the board, and you have to get to the other side, unlock a door, get a key, and then all escape. But there are zombies,
of course. Yep.
And as first off, the zombies are not controlled by a player, so it's not like there's a bad guy and good guys. The zombies are just based on rules. The zombies always go towards the loudest noise at any given time. So it's really like, it's not like one person's playing the zombies and everyone else is playing against them. It's really like you're all working together to complete this mission. And then as you're playing it, you kill more zombies, you gain experience, you level up, you can kill zombies more easily, and it's more likely that zombies appear. So you get different weapons as you go. You like open doors, and there might or might not be zombies behind them as you go. And it's just, it like, again, it's one of those that like the first round is like, how does all this work? And then once you get going, it's like, okay, I'll move 6 spaces here. Here's a zombie. There's not one behind this door. I'll kill this one. You move over here. You get going with it pretty fast.
Right.
And then it gets to be a lot of fun. But it's like playing. Do you remember XCOM or any of those games?
Yes.
Where it's like turn-based. You have this many points per round that you can do things with, whatever. It's that. It is literally that, but as a board game where you're going against zombies. And it's really fun. There's an expansion pack. I've never even played all 12 missions because, like, by the time you've ramped up, it's been an hour and a half, and then you're barely on to mission 2, and everyone's like, maybe I'll call it a night.
I'm tired.
So, yeah.
I imagine
if you want to play Zombicide with me, message me online. superhardfight@gmail.com.
What's ours? House on Haunted Hill?
Betrayal.
Right? Betrayal at the House on Haunted. Yeah. That one's one of the
Betrayal at
ones.
House on the Hill. No, is it Haunted Hill? That's the movie, isn't it?
I don't remember. At some point, there's like a second booklet full of rules because you don't know what's going to happen once you achieve the first goal.
And then there's the expansion.
Yeah.
Which had a bunch of...
So now you just need to make a mod of that called Betrayal at King of the Hill.
And there you go. And the boss is always Bobby.
Bobby's one of the characters.
Yep. It's always him.
I was perusing Kickstarter, and I found some Batman game going for like $120, which has multiple... It looked...
modules.
Oh.
It's crazy.
It's exclusive. And I was like, can I flip this if I buy? Anyway.
So yeah, now that we're 15 minutes into this, we Ross, obviously, I think we made it clear. Ross has worked with the Super Art Fight guys. He also does a lot of his own stuff. We have a lot to get into today, so enough wasting time, Alex. Like if we could just get
come on, guys.
Well, let's talk about Super Art Fight.
Let's talk about Super Art Fight.
Let's talk about Super Art Fight.
One of the things that I feel is a little unfortunate is that very often watching Super Art Fight happen, a lot of the art fighters get a lot of recognition because they're drawing on the 6-foot wall of paper.
That's unfortunate.
And they've got to be the characters and everything, and it's awesome.
Yep.
But if you're just going to watch someone draw for 20 minutes or watch three bouts for over an hour and a half, that's going to get boring. And luckily, like, to their credit and skill and humor and comedic timing and abilities, Ross and Marty, like, make it fun the entire way through because they're calling shots, they're saying what's happening, they're telling jokes in between, and if I were to tell you, like, you're gonna watch someone draw for an hour, you'd be like, I'll be amused for the first 5 minutes, but kudos and thanks to Ross and Marty for making it so much fun. And what I meant was, like, I'm sorry if you guys don't get enough recognition for what you do, because literally, like, you were the guys on the mics and making it happen.
Well, first off, thank you, because I really do appreciate that. I mean, I think Marty and I both have the same attitude, which is that we shouldn't be the focus of the show, because, you know, the focus of the show should be the artists and what they're doing, and that's, you know, we really try to keep the focus on them. I've always had kind of like a love-hate relationship with the fact that a lot of times people come up to me and Marty and they don't know our names, and or they will mistake one of us for the other, you know, like, and I call him by name, he calls me by name. I really don't know where that comes from, but whatever. And which is why I thought it was so funny when, like, there was a chant for a while where everyone would chant Ross sucks, and then everyone knew it was Ross sucks and the other guy, and I thought that was hilarious. Just like, well, everyone knows me, so okay. But yeah, we do work really hard at making it a fun show the whole way through. You know, we've been doing this for the whole time Art Fight's been around, which is now 10 years. Over the course of that time, I like to think we've gotten better at it. We've picked up little tricks in terms of what we can use to fill the time, how much to fill the time, how much to call things out versus not, how much to joke around versus keep it kind of because we wear the hats of actually being the MCs, actually keeping things moving, telling people what's actually going on, keeping track of the time, keeping track of the rules, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But then there's also the entertainment aspect of, we do have to make it fun for everybody the whole way through. And there are a lot of points where we're just making each other try and laugh. I mean, I think that's when we're at our funniest, is when it's like, I'm just trying to get Marty to crack up laughing, and vice versa, because, like, I think it's infectious when we're both having a good time. So oftentimes I'll just see, like, who can make the most obscure reference this round. Let's see who wins. Mm-hmm. I'll never forget one time Marty referenced Camp Candy on stage, the failed John Candy vehicle of a Saturday morning cartoon, and I just lost it for about 2 minutes of just, I can't believe you just made a reference to that. No one here knows that.
I used to watch that show.
I'm the only one that, yeah. So, you know, then it became about that, and then we're like, okay, wait, we have a show to do. Let's get back to that. People are drawing. We need to get back to them. But we have a lot of fun doing it, and but it is exhausting because we are on stage the longest of anybody, and we do not stop talking for about 2 hours.
Wait, having to be on that much?
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, like, I would challenge anyone who thinks that, like, they could do that. It's like, yeah, go ahead and try. Go get up there and do it, like, as naturally as it comes off as you and Marty do it.
Well, so the first time we did it together, it came out of Marty hosted the first show by himself, and he didn't have a lot to say because it's hard to fill time by yourself. Mm-hmm. And I was actually one of the artists. I'm an okay artist. I'm not an amazing artist. I'm not nearly as good as our artists are now. And the next show, he and I have an actual like offline friendship. And so he was like, if we just did our normal goofing and making each other laugh, but on stage, I think that could be the new way we do commentary. And that first show was a lot of fun. We did it together. We ripped off every comedian we've ever listened to. We definitely ripped off everybody, not because we were trying to, but because those were our inside jokes, and that was the only way we knew to make jokes, was to make each other laugh. And that was so much based on our own inside jokes that we were doing that naturally. I think over time we've moved away from swiping other people's comedy and to actually kind of figuring out what we think is funny to ourselves. But it's so much fun to go up there and do that. I would never complain about how it is tiring. But if anyone has tried to talk to me about 30 minutes after the show, I come down off that high, and I, first off, do not remember anything I said on stage. Because you're trying to, I think because you're trying to think so fast that it's like whatever comes into my head comes out my mouth. So therefore it doesn't pass through like any amount of like short-term memory that catches it. Mm-hmm. So like an hour later, I have no clue what I said. And then I also just have used up all my ability to say anything else for about 2 hours after of just, I'm just done talking to people.
I'd say you earned it. Yeah. I'd say you earned that little moment of silence.
And even then, like some of the things you do say, Chalmers just blows a whistle and yellow cards you anyway.
That's true. I take a true joy in a joke that is so bad it gets yellow carded.
There have been ones where like you get yellow carded and I go, oh hey, I like that one.
Yeah. I think one time I was ready for it and he yellow carded me, and then I accused him of being a fan of the band Yellow Card. Ooh. And then I started listing Yellow Card songs he might like, and then that got me another card of maybe a red card. I don't even remember. But I was like just proud that I was ready for it that time.
I didn't know Yellow Card had more than one song. I thought they just had the one.
I have no idea what we're talking
about. They're the punk band with a violin.
Yeah, if I hadn't played SSX games a lot in my college years, I wouldn't know any songs by Yellow Card. But there you go.
No. Oh,
so
well.
One of my favorite Ross jokes from this past ConnectiCon.
I love this.
So
I guarantee whatever you're about to say, I don't even remember saying it. I'm just putting that out there. Let's see if
he's probably making it up.
It was so well put together. I was angry at how good it was, because something about,
was this during Unleashed or
I don't recall which one it was. I think maybe
off to a good start.
But something with Looney Tunes was up. I don't recall if it was what was on the board at the time or if it was one of the other topics. And someone mentioned like Acme High School, Acme Academy. And Ross goes, no, I think you mean Acme Community College.
Oh God.
Oh man,
I broke him. And so it's like everyone's ready for Acme University because that was one of the things from the shows,
right?
And Ross like he skips over it and goes to Community College.
Brutal.
I'm proud of that joke to this day. Yeah.
Did you remember that one or
that message?
Is that one that you recall or not so much?
That, as you're telling that story, I'm like, I couldn't have said Luniversity. What must I have said? And I didn't know where I was going. But then you got there, and I'm like, oh, that sounds about right. That sounds like a joke I would have made. Because I've been doing Art Fight for so long and comics for so long, I go back and read old comics I wrote, and I'm like, that's funny. Oh, I remember writing that. Nice. That's
I'm
good.
a funny guy.
That is how I'd say that.
And it's cool because like you and Marty also, like, you're not afraid to take the punch yourselves. Like you mentioned, like the Ross sucks thing. There's I have the T-shirt that says it. By the way, that T-shirt, that's the most comfortable. It's not a T-shirt. It's like the baseball three-quarter
sleeve. Yeah.
God, that shirt is so comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take looks about that all day. I think because I bought it at ConnectiCon 2 years ago, when you guys were doing the show with Cyanide and Happiness.
Oh, Cyanide and Happiness, yeah.
And I think that's when I got it, right? Or was it last year? I can't remember. Either way, like the amount of times I've been asked who's Ross, it makes it like it's like I'll it's so comfortable, and it's like I get to tell the story about this guy who lives in DC who apparently sucks.
Well, so first off, I own that shirt as well. I think that's hilarious. When we talked about making it a shirt, I had this like instant image in my head of like, I will own this shirt. I will put this shirt in a box. Years from now, my children will find it, and then they'll be like, "Dad, what's this?" And then I'll be like, "Son, it's time I told you about Super Art Fight." And then this kid will become a teenager, and he will wear it unironically and be like, "Yeah, it's my dad. He fucking sucks." And that'll be really funny for them and kind of me. But that shirt. Do you guys know Game Grumps?
Yes.
Yeah. So they stream video game. They're really funny, and they make more money than Jesus apparently. So there is a member of the Game Grumps crew named Ross. One of our friends, Emily. She used to do our social media. She's awesome. We've known her a long time.
She's from the Fangirls site, yeah?
Yeah,
Fangirls Are We?
From Fangirls Are We.
Yep.
Exactly. She sent them a copy of that shirt. And then there is a post that they did of wearing that shirt. And then in the background is their Ross walking by and being like, "What the fuck?" And it got thousands of likes and retweets and all this stuff. And meanwhile, it doesn't say anywhere on the shirt Super Art Fight or anything like that.
Oh.
So none of these people know that it is me in reference or my shirt that we designed and we sold and all that stuff. Nothing. And meanwhile, there's people in the comments like, "Oh my God, I want that shirt. Oh, I love that shirt." I mean, they wouldn't buy it even if I put a link in front of them. But all the same, like, it is just out there. It happened, and it cracks me up every time.
And there's also, I think it was last year at ConnectiCon, were you one of the people to take a chop?
Oh, yeah, I took a chop. Yeah, we got wrestling chopped by a professional wrestler.
That was
which
insane.
hurt like hell.
Insane.
Well, like Chalmers posted his picture like a few days later,
Yeah.
and it was, I think it was still red. It wasn't even bruised.
You could see the outline of that hand. It was like a cartoon player or a cartoon character going through a wall, but on his chest. Like, it was just the outline of the hand. You could make out every finger. It was intense. Yeah, I got chopped. Brandon got chopped. I think Marty got chopped too.
Yeah, I think so.
I think I remember seeing Marty's sad chest somewhere in that show. Yeah, we've done a lot of. We are okay with being the butt of jokes.
Yeah.
I'm more okay with it than Marty is, I think. Like, the only thing I have a problem with is when Baron von Sexfeld draws me. For a while, he would make the nose really big, and I was like, "You make me look like I am the scapegoat for all of Germany's problems, and that's not good. Like, you got to tone that down." But other than that, yeah, I'm game for it. And Mikey, Baron von Sexfeld, he knows that if he wants to have like a bit on stage where he like messes with one of the MCs, he should come to me because I'm up for it. He's eating whipped cream off my head. He's there's been lots of things with sparkles. It's all sorts of things at this point. Yeah, because anything we can do to put the show over, we're up to do. So that's part of my role. I think my favorite is when the best thing for me to do to sell a joke is to make a serious face at the audience, like I'm Jim on The Office. Like, that's my favorite moment, is when I can sell it by just being like, "Meh, meh, these guys, what's this nonsense?" That's fun.
I do want to say, if anyone listening now like doesn't know who we're talking about, Chalmers and
should we do that?
Brandon Chalmers and Mikey have been on our first Super Art Fight episode,
way back,
which was in our early hundreds.
Yeah,
I believe.
Yep.
We talked with them. Later on, we had Chalmers and Marty. Then.
Yep.
and then we got Jimmy Noguchi on a solo episode
last year.
Yeah. And then we were reviewing PAX East, and there was an announcement that like Super Effort's going to be at PAX East. And we're like, whoa, let's look at who's going. And I was like, there's someone here that we haven't had on yet who's going to go to PAX.
Yeah.
So let's rectify this.
Yep.
And get it handled.
It's gonna be It's gonna be pretty rad. The show's on Friday night at 9.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
I believe. I have the schedule literally in front of me.
Check the program, because I couldn't tell you what room number or anything like that. I mean, they change it all the time, and yeah.
Let's take a look. If I could get this to move. Yeah, Friday night at 8:30 or 8. Maybe it's at 8. This schedule is hard to read, but it's
show up
it's on Friday night and go to PAX.
Go to PAX, get in a line, ask people for Super Art Fight. When they don't know what it is, try and tell them. Pictionary meets pro wrestling. Come check it out and form a line.
And you can have a really good time. We can vouch. It's pretty fun. We've seen it a few times.
And we keep going back.
You know, it's one of those things that I'm really honestly proud of. Like, you know, I think sometimes I'm like, well, is this too nerdy for some people? But then I really think we've done a good job, especially in the last couple of years, of getting away from like the super inside jokes of things. Right. Unless that's the audience at that show. We've tried to get really good about like explaining what the joke is, explaining what's going on, explaining what the references are. With the topics that are drawn, we've tried to go more general and less intellectual property. So
right.
It's less obscure reference to comic, that meme thing, and more like, oh yeah, that's Spider-Man. And I for the most part, I mean, every once in a while, Jamie Noguchi will draw nothing but Kamen Rider for 20 minutes and
then talk about it the entire drive home from ConnectiCon.
That has 100% happened,
and it got live streamed.
that. You know, Jamie has so much energy and is so fun to listen to him explain something. But then when he does his own YouTube and stuff, like he tries to. I think he's getting way better at it. But for a while, it would just seem so much more stiff than the excitement of talking to Jamie Noguchi, which is one of my favorite things. Is Jamie will get so excited about something, and hearing him be excited will get anyone excited.
Yep.
And I really think that's super infectious. And so when he's good at it, it's great. But when he's like trying to come off as professional or like, you know, think of what he's trying to say and not be off the cuff, I think it sometimes loses that. But man, when he's on, it's something to hear. Like, it got me excited for watching Kamen Rider with, I don't know, there's some sort of, they eat chickens and they live on a roof. I don't even remember, but it sounded amazing. Amazon, Kamen Rider, Amazon.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like the show enough where I bought one of the canvases after the show was
nice.
over. Yeah. It was Captain Salsa Verde versus El Russo Rojo.
Russo Rojo, yep.
Oh,
and
nice.
And has a bunch of robots and butts on it.
As there should be.
Robots and butts.
Yeah.
Are there robot butts? I bet there are.
There are, yeah.
There's absolutely
There's a BB-8,
butts.
and he just turned into a giant butt. Just
nice.
Because it was What's the
Force Awakens?
Force Awakens,
yeah.
It was fresh.
Yeah, you know,
fresh on the market.
There's a lot of shapes that get drawn a lot. You know, but like if you think about it artistically, you know, things that are circular, you know, and that I can make into a thing. So it's like the Death Star has become a Pokeball more times than I can count. A Pokeball has become BB-8. You know, BB-8 has become a butt. Like, you know, there's like anything that is spherical and a nerdy reference. It's like, yeah, it's going to be one of these circular things that everyone can tell what that is. The top of Batman's head has become the Eye of Sauron more than once.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a good pull.
Yeah. That's happened a couple times. One of my favorites. Jamie Noguchi would turn a nose, like someone's drawn a nose on a person, into a Ninja Turtle, where he just draws like a bandana across the nose and then turns the nostrils into like the growl that they used to always be on the action figures. And then I finally came up with a good like joke for that, where I would go heroes in a nostril, and
Yep.
then once I had that, I was like, please keep doing that so I can keep making that joke, because that joke makes me laugh every time.
One of my favorites is every time Cyclops gets turned into RoboCop, or vice versa.
Yep. Yeah,
It's just a natural progression, you know?
It is kind of a natural progression right there. Yeah, I mean, you've got someone's got to turn it into Bebop at some point, right? That's got to happen.
Isn't that on your canvas?
Yeah, Bebop's on the canvas.
Yeah, he is on. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
They're also
they're all visor themed right there.
with all the super art fight stuff, you know, that we've been talking about. There's a Kickstarter that's literally live right now.
Yes, it is live right now.
Of course, if you're listening to this in the future, I'm sorry, you may have missed out, or maybe it's available for sale. Who knows? But right now there is a Kickstarter going for the Super Art Fight Gang, the roster, the crew, whatever you'd like to call them, where you can essentially bring the game home. Yes.
So you can go to superartfight.com/Kickstarter, and we've got like a quick page there that will take you over to Kickstarter from there, or you can just look on Kickstarter and look for Super Art Fight, and it's the one thing that's live. But it's called Cute Animals on Fire, the Super Art Fight party game of drawing destruction. So what we've done is we've taken some of our favorite wheel topics. So of all the things that the artists draw, I think it's our 48 favorite, and put those into a deck. We've had our artists kind of draw one example of what that might look like, so they're all really fun illustrations on the cards. And then we've built kind of a game around it that I like to describe as Cards Against Humanity meets Pictionary. So what you do is each round, there's one person who kind of acts as the judge of that round. We call him the ref. And everyone else has to draw that topic. They've got 2 minutes to draw it. And it doesn't matter if you're a good artist or not. It really, really doesn't. We get asked that a lot. But as long as it's clear what you were trying to draw, you then, at the end of that time, explain what you drew. So, you know, even if it's stick figures, you can be like, well, I was trying to draw this. As long as the idea is funny, that might be the winner. And then whichever one gets the funniest idea by pandering to the ref, they're chosen as the winner. That round ends. Next person is the ref. Game starts over. But we've done, to give it that art fight twist, you know, since we're all about drawing in the same canvas at the same time, not everyone can do that at home. Not everyone has a 6-foot tall canvas at their disposal. So some of the cards in the deck are combo cards. So what you do is you take something that's already been drawn from the previous round, and you use that as your starting illustration for the next round. So, for example, let's say in one round you had to draw Cute Animals on Fire, and you draw a bunny, and now he's on fire. Then you put that drawing down. It's in the pile of already spent drawings. Then you get a combo card that maybe is Bargain Bin Prosthetics. So then you pick up that previous drawing, and you draw on it and add a bargain bin prosthetic to your bunny that has been set on fire. So now he might have, hopefully a fire extinguisher for an arm, because, you know, he is kind of currently on fire. So, you know, you can play off the previous illustration, which is actually really, really fun. And I think that's what makes it Art Fight and not just some silly party drawing game. So it's a lot of fun. We've done a lot of play tests. We're actually putting up a video, or just put up a video of a 2-minute round that we did at Fandom Comics, the local DC comic shop. Let us do it. That kind of shows what a round looks like with a bunch of normal non-Art Fight artists playing it, and gives you a sense of what it's like. And we play tested it with young, old, good artists, not good artists, and it's fun with whoever you play with. We've had a really great time.
Our very own Brett Kelly, who we mention frequently
every week,
because he's also like one of our most frequent guest hosts, without ever like being to a Super Art Fight show, within like the first week of launch, he messages me and says, "Hey, just back to Kickstarter." And I go,
awesome.
And I go, Brett, no. Why? No one's ever going to want to, like, he didn't say what it was, but I knew. And I was like, and Brett is such a good artist. And I'm like, no one's going to want to play against you. You're too good of an artist.
It's not going to be fair. It's
you know what? I've found that it is not the best artists that win each round. It really isn't, because sometimes the people that are really good artists, they spend too long on making it look good, right, and not enough time on just getting the idea out. Like I was drawing, it was babies. Oh, cute but deadly was the topic. Cute but deadly, and I spent a minute and a half drawing a cute baby face, and then I had 30 seconds and went like, shit, he's not deadly, and then I like put a knife in his hand. It was like totally thrown in. I was like, I didn't plan that out at all. So you really just gotta keep drawing, and like it would have been better if it was just a stick figure, but a funnier idea for how he was deadly. You know, like sometimes it's better to just like get the idea out than it is to have it be a good drawing, because no one's like holding this up and being like, I don't know, the angles, the chiaroscuro, I don't know, but yeah.
The light source could have been a bit better if it was on this side, if you know.
Yeah, the foreshortening on this. I mean, this person does not know how to draw comics the Marvel way. They're not reaching at the camera.
You're fired from Cute Animals on Fire. You can't play anymore. That's what it is. But yeah, it's currently up on the Kickstarter. Currently sitting pretty at over 200% funded. You know, not that big of a deal.
Yeah, it is definitely happening, people. So get on that gravy train.
Still, as of today, and of course, this is we're recording a little bit early. There's still a couple weeks left to go, but you can go and take a look. And does the ref card, does that come with a beard that you can wear? Is that going to be?
You know, we're still putting together the absolute final design for it. Brandon. The card actually looks like Brandon as of right now. I will say that.
Perfect.
It has his grumpy scowl on it. The card is practically saying, if I don't do this, it won't get done, which is, in my head, the most Brandon of sayings. Like, the most Brandon thing I can think of is complaining about doing something that he volunteered for.
Brutal.
It's one of the things that I feel blessed with is that over the years, as we've gotten to know you guys and everyone else at our fight, is that like we get the joy of getting to hang out with the team, the roster, like after the show's over or whatnot.
Yeah.
And like that's been amazing, but like that also gives us a really nice insight into what everyone else is like. Because like once Brandon is on stage and he's reffing and he's calling out Wheel of Death timing and everything. And then it's like, well, he's not always like at a table hawking art or, you know, slinging T-shirts, whatever. But like getting to learn more about, he lights up fast. and if you were ever against him, that would be scary. But if he's on your side, it makes you the most confident Spartan. You're like, because like at one point we were talking about our Wonder Woman episode where we gave up our show.
Oh yeah, I was like super. I was like, okay, God.
we gave up the show. We had 3 of our female guests come in and basically do the show for us and talk about Wonder Woman. And like there's some troll on YouTube who like reported it.
Within 5, because our episodes automatically get uploaded to YouTube. It's the way I think you guys used to use Libsyn with the Super Art Fight podcast. Yeah, so there's a thing on Libsyn where you can automatically have your episodes uploaded to YouTube as well, which is super handy. And within 20 minutes of the episode being uploaded, I got a notification. It's like, hey, your video has been removed due to a violation of community standards. So someone flagged our, and like the episode's over and like it's like an hour and 20 minutes long or something like that. Yeah. So it literally would not have been possible to listen to the entire thing.
They were just busy trying to hate on everything Wonder Woman related.
Exactly. Yeah. They were searching hashtags. They found one, they found our thing and someone flagged it. So it got reported and taken down.
And so we were hanging out with you guys and Vicky was there and Vicky was on the episode. And we get to this point where we're like, yeah, I was taking it down. And Chalmers was like, what? did you like repost and say the episode YouTube doesn't want you to see? and we're like, no.
And I was like, no, I just kind of discreetly emailed YouTube and I explained our case, and they put it back up a couple days later. And Brandon's like, you missed out, man. You fucked up. Like,
shit. You know, listening to Brandon be mad at something is pretty something hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's a hard thing to want to see your friend mad. Like, you want to see your friends happy, but when he gets on a tear, I'm glad to be on this side of it. You know, like.
Yep.
But yeah, you can go check out the Super Effect Kickstarter. Go throw money at it. You can play it at home. You can also, if you're in our area, we always say this all the time, but if you're going to be at PAX East, you can actually see it in person. You can see it
and we recommend that you do.
And it's one thing to explain it, because I've explained it to so many people, but it's like, because there actually is obviously, if you go to, we filmed the regular Super Fight show from Voltaire's Wicked Necro Comic Con, and posted on YouTube. That's an older bout between, I can't remember who was.
I remember
was Crod in that one.
I think McCrod might be there. Yeah, I liked Crod
back in the day. But you can go and check that out if you want to see what it's like, or just go to a live show. Go and see it, buy some merch and all that shit. It's good stuff.
Yeah, we definitely recommend you buy merch more than going to shows. Buying merch would be like task one. Maybe task
that's
two.
the priority. Are you guys going to have like tables and stuff at PAX as well, or is it just the show?
No, we're just doing the show, which I'm actually really excited about, because normally, like, okay, sitting behind a table all weekend, while very fulfilling creatively, I guess. I don't know. But it's really, really just like so much more fun to get to like go and hang out. And I think Marty and myself and Jamie are going to just hang out at PAX East. Like, we're not just doing the show, we're doing the show and hanging out for the rest of the weekend. And every time we hang out and it's not a show, Marty is like, it's so fun to hang out with you guys, because we're normally only together when we're doing something that takes a lot of time and effort.
Yeah.
And so it's like setup, there's breakdown, there's the show itself, whatever. Yeah, it's work. And we actually like hanging out with each other. Like, the road trips are really fun, and like hanging out, going to see movies is really fun, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really looking forward to just like hanging out with my friends.
I do want to mention some of your merch, because that was the thing that stuck out to me, and it really like opens a new view of you and everything you want to do. And it's like, oh, here's a guy who gets yellow carded for cracking like bad puns or whatever. But then
you think that's bad? let's talk about my comic, shall we?
Well, what I wanted to get to first was your Be Nice stuff.
Oh yeah.
Which I was a big fan of it. I'm seeing, from going from the comic book and the show, and if you just came from the Unleashed show, that's something very different. But then like we're seeing pins that say just be nice, just be kind. And every individual thing like had a different charity behind it.
Yep. Yeah.
And I messed up. I meant to wear my T-shirt, my actions speak louder than T-shirts.
Unbelievable.
T-shirt.
I love that one.
I bought that, and I bought some of the pins, and we were basically just like trying to get info out of everybody, and like just, once we're hanging out, it's like, well, what's this? What do you do? And basically, you hit me with there's a lot of like anger and negativity happening right now, so let's try and turn that around, and let's try and like have a force to be nicer to each other. And like as you're explaining this, I immediately start like calculating how much I could spend.
That's awesome. So that came out of my day job. So about 5 years ago, I started my own design firm, and so two of my designers, named Hannah and Olive, they had the idea, big surprise, right after the election, to do something. And I told them, like, come to me with a full idea of what you want to do and how the logistics of it work, whatever. And I kind of gave them some parameters. And I'll listen and I'll probably say yes to it. And so they came to us with this idea, really fully formed. Like, and when I say fully formed, I mean like we maybe fixed some spacing on some things, but like they were like, it's going to be this. We're going to start with stickers. We're going to do these stickers. They're going to go to these causes. Like they had it worked out really well. And so I just have tried to just support it. I mean, so I didn't do any of the designs myself. I will say that I was a huge fan of this poster that I saw at like right after the election. There was this protest in New York City where this guy had a poster that said, "Not normally a sign guy, but geez." And I found that guy and I was like, can I make that into a poster or a t-shirt that's like not normally a t-shirt guy, but geez, or like, something, I don't know. And he didn't get back to me. So the Actions Speak Louder Than t-shirts, which started as Actions Speak Louder Than stickers, just as a sticker, that was actually like a reference is like close of a sentiment as we felt comfortable doing to that. So I kind of feel like I inspired that, but the actual, like, I tried to help, I tried to like weigh in and stuff like that, but my two designers really deserve like the bulk of that credit. I came to it though, because I've been tabling at shows and doing that a long time. I came to it with like, here's how we sell things at shows. Here's how, we set up a table. Here's what we need to think about in terms of this and that. But we did it for all of last year, and raised over $10,000 for charities and, sold a lot of stickers. And, it was a really, really cool project and it's still going. We just, have been too busy to like expand on it, but it's still running. You can still buy all that stuff online. Our website is benice.shop. So it looks like Benis.shop, but it is benice.shop. Yeah.
Cool. So you can go check it out. I snagged one of the patches, and I think it said
nice
CEO of my lady business.
Lady business.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's like the biggest seller. That and we have a patch that says "Let me be perfectly queer." I mean, obviously, you're kind of making that statement about yourself, so that's not right for everyone. But I just love the cleverness of those. And again, like I try to promote a pun-friendly environment at work, but I can't take the credit for any of those. That was all our designers. They did an awesome job.
That's rad. Now you had mentioned your comic. You also do one thing that's really easy, and I had no idea about when we first saw you guys, and Alex kind of touched on it, was we saw the Super Art Fight show. Oh my God, these guys are really funny. They're all really good at doing art, and they're good at doing art on the fly, and that was great. And they all have these funny characters. That's awesome. And then we go to see like you guys at the table. Hey, we want to talk to you guys, and it's, oh my God, all of you guys do all of your own shit too.
Yeah.
Like pretty much every single person there has like, oh, I do this. I made this book. I have this webcomic, whatever it is. And Ross, you have your own thing, and it's one of those. I have like 6 tabs open right now with ones that I saved. And also Alex and I we were doing like the wheeze giggle a lot before the episode.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it, the comic, you have a comic called The System.
Yes. Systemcomic.com.
Yes. And it just it rings home as a lot of them is just, it hits you with that, oh my God, that's so true. Like when you read it, it's like, I know that I have experienced that multiple times in my life, and now it's in a comic form and I can laugh at it.
Yeah. I've been making it for a while now, but it's actually kind of reverse. It's not like we did Art Fight and then we started doing these other things. We met because we were doing these other things and then started Art Fight. So it kind of went in reverse for the core group of us, because Marty at the time had his own webcomic. I had mine. It was a different, well, how I met all these guys was a different project at the time, but Art Fight and my comic started up around the same time. And we met Mikey because he was promoting his stuff, and we were like, I bet you could do this thing we're trying to do for Art Fight. And then we teamed up. So Yeah, it kind of came out of that, but it's also like it's an unofficial artist collective. Like we don't brand ourselves as we are made up of these people that make other stuff, because that's not like a prerequisite to being an art fighter.
Mm-hmm.
But by default, the people that are drawn to doing it also like to draw. They tend to like to have an outlet for that. Most of them are not professional whatevers. They're professional illustrators, though they have the talent for it. So instead they have webcomics, they have side projects, they make stuff and sell it at shows, and that's where we see a lot of them, meet a lot of them. But yeah, I love doing my comic. I'd love to know which ones you were talking about, or your favorites, or whatever.
A couple of the ones that I have saved were the laundry schedule, where it's like the odds of and the any part of a suit
I saw that one too.
is like through the roof, which is the most true thing I have ever seen. And like every one of these underwear, socks, shirts, like is brilliant. And then I have I think the one that I've seen it a lot on the internet too. The how T-shirts are made, like the Venn Dyke.
Yeah. You've seen that on the internet, like out there?
I think I saw it a couple times on Twitter.
Oh man!
And then like I've seen it at ConnectiCon and stuff like that, obviously. But like that one, and I've actually told people about that because again, it is the most true. It's a Venn diagram showing how T-shirts are made, and one circle is something you like, the other circle is something else you like, and then the third circle is Doctor Who, and they all meet in the middle.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And then there was go ahead.
Oh yeah, I love that one, and I absolutely hate those T-shirts.
They're everywhere, man, everywhere. And then another one that I really liked was the also a Venn diagram, but it was of the bicycle, and it was like things my bicycle shouldn't be doing, and like the two wheels were.
Yeah. So it is a bicycle that I drew to have the frame bent, so the wheels are overlapping into a Venn diagram, and then the diagram represents things my wheels should not be doing.
It's so good. But like
with that one, I just want to point out like the positioning of the captions, because you managed to like have it flow. It's a one frame picture, but you're still reading it in a certain order where you get to the punchline at the bottom.
Yeah, that is a very tricky art. But again, so my day job is as a graphic designer, so like that it's to me, in my head, it is the same skill, or a very related skill to, because you are learning how spacing works, how to make things read properly, how you read an image, how to make someone read an image the way you want them to, how to make something in a clear image, that kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, I'm so glad to hear you say that, because I spend a lot of time on that. When it comes to like jokes like that, you have to put the labels in a place where someone reads across the image and they read the labels correctly. Like another one in there is the combination of graphic designers and dominatrixes. And there's a Venn diagram, and in the middle is they wear a lot of black, they're misunderstood by most people, and they like to work within restraints. So, again, you have to like read that in the right order to really build up to the joke. So that's part of the process.
Right. But it has this like brilliance of like, it's very simplistic.
Yes.
But it also like, it's still, I couldn't do this, like it's easy to be like, oh, well, it looks like it has a unique style. Like, the signs that you might see like on an office door,
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's very, it's brilliant. And it also, it's not always that. Like there was the iTunes one with the logo going like
Oh
supernova.
yeah. So for a while there, the iTunes logo was just getting more and more complicated and having more and more detail, and it felt like it was slowly exploding. And I just kind of took that as far as I could with that joke. But yeah, I mean, again, it's like how do I use these skills I've learned as a graphic designer and apply them? And I found the original set of images from actual graphic libraries for designers that are making signage. And I took literal bathroom sign image, literal drinking water fountain image, hailing a taxi cab who like has his arm up. So now I've got an arm at an angle. So now he can like talk and gesture at things. And it's puppetry after that. It's like graphical puppetry to like figure out, okay, here's this angle from this one and that angle from that one. And I can take this arm from this one and that body from that one and put them together and try and maintain the style. And then as I went, it was like, okay, well, what does a cat look like in this style? Because I don't have a cat version.
Yeah.
So what does a computer look like? Things like that. So I've been slowly building it out over the years to a bigger set, but surprisingly, a lot of them are from either that original set or the Mexico Olympics, which was in the 68, I think. The icons from that actually inspired the style that the actual like highway signage is from. But because of that, you've got a lot more actions because you've got the cycling event. So then they drew a guy on a bicycle in that style. And then there's a guy shooting from the biathlon. So then I've got a guy shooting in that style, and then a weightlifter and a runner and that kind of stuff. So it gave me a lot more variety to those. And then construction signs and the U.S. Park Service put out a set. So like you kind of slowly build it out and figure out which ones work. And every once in a while I'll be like, I never used that lighthouse one I have. Because there just is like scenic viewpoint over here lighthouse sign. So I was like, I should write a comic about a lighthouse just to use that one. I never used the park bench one or like picnic table area, just like. and so when I went to put my book together, when you go to the table of contents, it's marked with that picnic table.
Nice.
Most people don't get that joke. Like you just gotta accept it. You're just like, oh, table of contents icon, great. But yeah, it's a picnic table for the table of contents. So I always love that.
I've already been proven wrong once from an assumption I had before I started, because I was like, we're gonna do a thing. What we also mentioned for like jokes that you say during an R5 show, where you were like, oh yeah, which comics did you like? And I'm like, there's 800 of these. He's not going to remember which one's which. It's like,
I can't remember what we talked about last week.
Well, if someone plays me a quote from an episode of ours within the last 4 years, I'm not going to know what show it's from.
Like that's not me.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the comics take me. Okay, I produce them very quickly, and all the rest of the guys are really mad about that because I can make them so fast. But I do spend a lot of time crafting them and making sure they work and that kind of thing. And I've read them all and I've looked for, like what was that one time and gone back to find it and stuff like that. So I've done all that enough that I'm pretty familiar with the archive. And then most people's favorites are from a smaller grouping of all the ones I've made. I mean, there's like, I don't know, of the 800 or so I've done, there's about 100 that everyone's like, these are my favorites. And so it's pretty, and they're generally my favorites too. My absolute favorite is probably, there's one where two people are going up an escalator and one of them pulls out a gun and shoots the other. And then they get to the top and it says that escalated quickly.
Yep.
Man, I have that at my table and I barely ever sell it. But people come over and they read it and they groan in my face.
It makes it worth it. It's like payment in groan.
Yeah, well, it's the type of thing that you are glad you read, but that doesn't mean you want to buy it and take it home. Right.
Yeah.
Like it's like going into a store and being like, this is funny, but that doesn't mean you're gonna buy it. It's like So, but it brings people in. It's fun. It's one of my favorites. Or I think my absolute favorite that I'm just proud of this joke is a guy's trying to print something in an office. And so he hits print and he walks over to the printer and it hasn't printed. And he goes back to his desk and he hits print. And he does that for 4 lines of just you're reading him not printing something. And then he gets really frustrated. He like screams, and this woman comes over to him who's kind of in the background the whole time. And she goes, "Don't worry, someday your prints will come." It's a terrible joke. It's a terrible joke. But what I love about it is that I made you read 5 lines of nothing happening to get to it. So it's like, you ever hear the clown joke where it's like the art of the joke is in telling it for as long as possible. That is the closest I got to the clown joke, was making that joke, that really dumb joke at the end of a long setup.
The second thing I've been proving wrong about already is how you've explained, 5 or 6 of these by now. And I was thinking like, oh, when Ross comes up with one of these, like, it can't be easy, because how do you write down notes for these figures, or like for a bent in half bicycle or something like that?
Yeah.
And like, without actually drawing a thing or making a thing, how do you retain that information? And you made it sound pretty easy all of a sudden.
Well, I mean, so like a lot of them are based on conversations with friends and stuff. And it's like, oh yeah, I should write, or like true stories. There's actually on my website, all the comics are tagged, and you can go to the archive and pull them up by the tags. And there's a true story tag, and everything in there that is listed as a true story was a moment that happened to me in real life that then I tried to make a slightly funnier version for the comic out of. So like last week, I was biking to work. This guy almost hits me in his car. He's yelling at me while we're going. I'm yelling back at him. Then we both get stuck at a light. And then I'm like, well, we're going to be here for a few minutes if you want to keep yelling, is what I said to him. and then he's like, the traffic today sucks. And I'm like, I know it does suck. Next thing you know, we're complaining together. And then by the end, he's like, all right, see you later. And so that was like, that's a comic. That's totally a comic. So, I think I changed out some of the details, but that happened. That just happened to me. And then others are like jokes with me and my girlfriend. Like there was one not too long. Oh, so this one actually goes up. When's this podcast go up?
Next week.
Oh, yeah.
Just now? Okay. So it'll be up by the time this comes out. So, the Target sells these signs that say like eat, that you're supposed to put in your kitchen, or like love that you put somewhere in your house. And they're like cheesy, dumb fonts that are just like really big. So my girlfriend and I think they're really funny, but if you're going to do it, you should label every room in your house. Like, don't just get one. You need to get like a whole set of them that like tells you what to do in each room. And so the next comic is, someone being like, look, I decorated my house. And then you see the one in the kitchen that says eat, the one in the living room that says love, and then there's a bathroom that says poop really big. And it's in this like cheesy pseudo script that you would see at Target, And so, and that is just like a joke me and my girlfriend just have made multiple times to each other, because you hit a point where you're like, I need a comic because I need one by tomorrow. What's a funny thing from the last week of my life? And that's going to make it. Or like at work, someone made their password, a indescribable string of characters to make it a very secure password. And I said, oh, that'll be easy to remember. That's my mother's maiden name. And they laughed really hard. And I'm like, that's a comic. Okay, write that down. So it's like you need something each week. So you just you put yourself on the lookout when you're making a comic. You're like on the lookout at all times. So part of your brain is analyzing everything you've said on some level and being like, is that a comic? Is that a comic? Is that a comic? And so I think when you're looking for it, you find it.
Right.
And that helps a lot. And sometimes though, you just like look at what you got and like, what can I make with this? But a lot of times I think it's better and funnier and more relatable when I'm just like keeping my ears open to funny things that have happened around me. But you just have to keep in mind, like, does it work when you're there? You know, like, is the joke self-contained enough that it's 2 sentences to explain? Because otherwise it won't fit into a comic.
When I'm on the another thing that I noticed like about your website, which especially in this day and age, it's like getting people to actually visit your website that's not on Facebook or Twitter can be a little challenging.
Yes.
And one thing I noticed is people actually take the time to comment on your comics, which is like refreshing, because like most of the time it's like, oh, I could comment on the website. I'll just send them a tweet. I'll just send it on Twitter.
I love my commenters, and to be honest, I feel like I've been unfair to them because I didn't update for a long time. Now I'm on a Monday schedule, so I update every Monday, and that was like I was doing 5 days a week. I did 3 days a week. I was down to once a week. I was down to 0 times a week, and sometimes every other week, and sometimes every once in a while. Now I'm trying to stick to once a week. I do it Sundays. It's up Monday. I like it. It's fun for me to like have it out there and see the comments. My mom comments on every single comic.
Is she Ross's mom?
Yeah, she's Ross' mom on the forums.
There's also
she's
Ross' dad.
A known quantity on there. Ross' mom, yeah. In fact, in the first book, I took her comments from the website that were funny in reference to the comic, and I ran those under it. So I ran that, and I called it Momentary.
So it's good flavor text.
By the first book of comics, which is the first 200, it has Momentary under not everyone, because sometimes she would just write, this one's great, and I was like, okay, that's not making the book. But every once in a while I'll make a crude joke and my mom will comment on it because it's a comic and she wants to comment, and then she'll write something like or sometimes she'll like dig in. Like there was one about killing someone, and then she'll comment on like the best way to clean up a blood stain.
Oh boy.
Yeah, she's I think I get a lot of my sense of humor from her.
The things moms know, you just there's no limit.
Well, that's how I learned.
Yeah.
Blood and clothes, toothpaste and cold water.
Yeah, vinegar helps, I think. I read that.
It's like Jared said earlier when we started talking about the system, they're really relatable. Because as you were just mentioned the thing about signs, me and frequent guest Will hit up a Borders books when that was closing, when those were shutting down, and I took home like some of the signage. Yeah, so there's a sign over the door to my comic book room that we're in right now. This is picture books, and the sign into the bathroom says Science Center. And so now that's where you go to make some science out your butt.
Oh, you said it. You just dropped it right there.
What?
Literally.
Yeah.
Because out of a butt.
And when it's like when roommates are over or something, it's like, hey, do you have to science because I have to shower? And this way we know, how much time we have.
Obviously.
It's just checking in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good way of really separating it. You just need the sign that's in the upcoming comic that says poop in the nice
poop Rubin
nice script. You can hang that in your bathroom.
It'll be up on the site by Monday, and it'll be comic number 805.
That is many comics.
It sure is.
Many. That's impressive. And like, we tend to brag a little bit because we're in the 300s. And it's rare when we meet anyone else who's like done a thing for that long.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, cool. You've done double us and then another 200. That's
been
cool.
grinding.
Well, I was gonna I actually was gonna stop at 800 because I was gonna do my first book was bright yellow because signs. And then I was gonna do I'll make them CMYK. It'll be 100% yellow, 100% cyan, 100% magenta, and then I'll do the last one 100% black, and then great, it'll be $4. It'll be awesome. And then I was like, I kind of want to get to 1,000 comics and just stop there, like that. So I kind of like the one a week and letting them slowly work themselves out. Plus, it's like I kind of forget that there's like a community of people that read them, and it's really nice. And I kind of want to like, it's not like I feel like I owe them everything, but like it's kind of fun to be in that community and to be giving that something to them. And I see those people at conventions, and I think like, you know, you see 7 comments, and you're like, oh, 7 comments, whatever. But then you're like, oh, someone came up to me and they're like, oh yeah, I always comment, and it's like, oh, that's you. I met you. You're a person. That's great.
You're real now.
Especially, like I said, getting people to even acknowledge your stuff sometimes can be tough. So to see like, oh, hey,
Yes.
someone read my comic and they liked it enough to leave a comment on it, and it wasn't my mom, you know, like it's success in its own right. But
Yes.
also my favorite part.
Sometimes it's also my mom.
One of my favorites, like I'm not talking about our guest for a moment,
Right. Okay.
but one of our guests that we've had on in the past, we talked about what he does, what he makes, and the community that he's built. And later on, I saw his dad comment saying that he's proud of him.
Aww.
And like, I don't know how that runs with other families, but this guy is a geek like the rest of us, and
Yep.
I'm not sure how easy it is to come by father approval, but I'm like, holy shit, did we do that?
You know, I struggle with that because my mom reads every single one. My dad reads, he's proud of me, but he doesn't do that. You know, he's not that level. And sometimes I even would like put a joke in like, my dad's never going to read this. Like I would mention that in the comments, like he's not going to read this. And he has never once been like, I saw that. Like I saw that one. I'm waiting for that day. Cause like there was one about, my dad used to say the phrase, that's how they get you a lot. Like about, you know, the points. Well, you get the points, but then the points, whatever. It's like, oh, that's how they get.
Don't fill up on bread.
Waiting for him. Yeah, I'm waiting for that comment.
It'll come eventually. I mean, I always have that surreal, like, every now and then, my mom will check out an episode, and she'll, like, comment, like, oh, hey, I listened to your episode. I'm like, why?
Okay.
There's nothing here for you.
Yeah, my mom is kind of so much the other way that it's like almost obnoxious. Like, she's like, I'm sorry I didn't comment on it yet. And I'm like, it's fine. And then she's gotten mad at me that I didn't tell her about a show or something, and it's like, sorry, I don't think to like. Sometimes also she thinks I'm responsible for literally everything I've ever touched. Like for example, BeNice.shop.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, I'm involved, but I'm not responsible for everything. So like she's like, how come you didn't tell me there was this email thing? And I'm like, because I didn't know about it. Like I didn't know when I was going out, or how come you just like Art Fight's doing this thing? How come you didn't tell me? Well, because I'm not involved in it, and I know that you think everything I touch is Ross Nover's own Super Art Fight, but it's not. It's part of a group that does things, and yeah.
Oh, so, moms, they mean well.
Moms, they do, and I've got a good one, so I can't complain.
True.
I did want to try and finish up with. We're lucky enough at ConnectiCon to have you guys there all weekend. And then there's multiple events. There's the Super Wi-Fi show. There's the Unleashed show. And sometimes there's a little something extra. There's been the live podcast. And one of my favorites last year was learning about the Jamie Noguchi system.
Jamie Noguchi system, yeah.
That was fun. Because like
it was fun.
The combination of, I believe it was the 4 of you that were there. Because you were like live posting.
I was live making charts and diagrams.
The steps.
I was live making PowerPoint slides, basically.
We're gonna get through the steps. There's 8 steps.
I do not remember all the steps.
They kept changing.
So you do. They kept changing because Jamie was like, "That's a thing. That's a step," and I'm like, "Okay, great, step." And then he'd be like, "This other thing. That's a step." Okay, great. I'll type that up. Then he's like, "Okay, so the 3 steps." I'm like, "Wait, there were 5 steps. Now there's 3. What are they?" Like, it kept changing. But it was a lot of fun to do. That was they offered. They were like, "Can you do a 4th panel? And if so, what?" And we were like, "We're gonna do the Jamie Noguchi system. I don't know what it is, but it's gonna be great." And we originally planned like more of like a full-on infomercial, and then we were like, "We're not gonna do that. That's gonna go over terribly." Anytime we try to like sell a bit that seriously, it doesn't go well. So it was like, yeah, we're gonna go up there, and Jamie's gonna motivate people because that's what he does best. and we went up there, and Jamie just convinced people to follow their dreams, basically. And then we gave them bracelets, and everyone cheered. It was a good time.
One of my favorites was there. A guy wanted to do more illustration and get back into drawing and making art, and possibly someday making a comic book. And one of the things that happened was like, "Hey, you play video games?" And he's like, "Yeah." And they go, "Stop."
Yeah.
It's like put any time you're doing that into making the thing, do the thing.
Yeah, Jamie Noguchi will get you to stop like wasting time. Basically, he loves to do when I hadn't put out my first book, he was like, "Did you do that book yet? Did you do that book yet? Why didn't you do that book yet? Did you do that book?" Like he just constantly, he's so just needles on it because he's a good friend. But yeah, he will do that all day and all night until you've done what you said you do or you wanted to do. And Jamie is a living embodiment of that, which is I think what's so great about him is like he's doing it. He's staying up late working and drawing, and I've watched him come a super long way since I first met him because I've known him now longer than we've been doing Art Fight. So he's come a long way with doing that for himself. So it's great to see that, see that in action.
As fun as that was, it was also a little intimidating.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because I wouldn't want to raise my hand because between Jamie and Chalmers mostly would start like explaining things to me that would have made this easier to do. It's like, here's how simple you could have done a thing. Maybe you should start doing the thing. And I'm like, Brandon, stop. Just
you're taking away my reasons to not do it.
Well, yeah, because his favorite thing to do is to just be like, what do you want to do? What is the thing you want to do? And then the follow-up question is, why haven't you done it yet?
Yeah.
And then when you hear yourself say it out loud, it already sounds stupid.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Like every single time you're like, what do you want to do? Make a book? Why haven't you done it yet? I'm busy. It's like, how stupid do you sound? Get less busy.
I'm
do
already
it anyway.
embarrassed.
Like, yeah, it's a great attitude. Which it came out of like him doing that internally, like he would do that to his own friends, and then we were like, that should be a panel. He should just tell everyone to do that, and that's what the panel was.
We have linked to his page.
Fucking do.it.
Yeah.
Yep.
During on his episode.
Just so we're clear. Fucking do.it.
I'm currently doing two things
that you weren't doing before.
That I wasn't doing before.
Look at that.
That I thought about and had wanted to do. And oh no, one was not a podcast. Funny thing, there was like almost no planning to this podcast.
Yeah.
We kind of joked about it for a month, and then we started doing it, and here we are.
Yeah. Yep. I saw Comic Book Men, and I was like, because at the very beginning and the very end of Comic Book Men, you see them like crowd around a poker table talking into mics, and I was like, we could do that.
We could do that.
And then one Craigslist soundboard later and a couple mics, here we are. 300 something episodes and the same 20 people tuning in every week. But hey,
but see, here's the thing. So when I was first doing the comic, I'm like, I'm gonna make it famous doing this comic. This is gonna be my livelihood. It's gonna be awesome. And now and then I kind of got disillusioned. But I kind of come back around to I like making this, you know, and I like that I have a small community around me that appreciates it. That's enough, Like, so if you guys like it, your 20 people like it. Great, you're on what I call the small internet, and I say that as a great thing, like small business, like community, like small town feel, like I mean it as a good thing. You're on the small internet. Small internet's great. Big internet's been pissing me off like crazy. Small internet makes me happy.
Yep. I mean, we always try to like when we say about the show, like obviously like the viewership, it is what it is. I imagine if we put a little more effort into pimping ourselves, which we're never really good at.
Yeah.
But like it also, the main thing that we look at is it affords us the opportunity to potentially try and talk with people who we typically wouldn't maybe not have the opportunity to talk with on a scale that we probably wouldn't have the opportunity to talk with them about. Like
that is a perfectly good reason.
Yeah. Yep. And I'd say so far, like I get at PAX. There's a couple people that I'm hoping to see there that had I not been able to connect with them through this show, I don't think I'd ever have the balls to be like, hey, I think what you do is cool. But yeah, it is what it is, I guess. But
awesome.
As we run low on time here, Ross, I know you had mentioned the website earlier. Where can people go to see your stuff?
My stuff. Yeah, I wish I could say like there's this one place and branch out from there. But first off, go to superartfight.com to see all of our upcoming tour dates and shows. We do a lot of conventions. We do live shows at clubs in the DC, Baltimore, sometimes Philly, sometimes New York. We're trying to go to more places, all those areas. If you want to bring us to a convention, get in touch with us. Don't just say, you should totally go to this convention. But like, if you're part of that, the people that could bring us there, please contact us or go pester them. Then benice.shop, www.benice.shop is where you can find all the sticker store and more for organizations that do good and you can feel good about them. And they're all really cute. And then, I didn't mention this, but there's an offshoot on there. You can go to beangry.shop. Where we have, as opposed to just be nice, okay, which is a sticker, we have one that says, don't be a fucking jerk. So you can buy that on a t-shirt, which is great. So you can go there for that. And then systemcomic.com is my webcomic. There's 805 comics on the site right now with a couple interludes and things. And I think about 500 of them are really funny. So... go check them out.
Ross, thank you so much.
Don't forget the Kickstarter.
Oh, yeah. There's a Kickstarter, too.
Support some cute animals on fire.
Forget everything I said and just go to Kickstarter and look up cute animals on fire. Don't just put that in your search history in Google. That's a bad idea. Go to Kickstarter, look it up, and or make sure you add the word Kickstarter when you Google it, just so, the NSA doesn't wonder. And buy a deck of these cards. They're awesome. We've reached our first stretch goal. We're on our way to our second. We're having a lot of fun doing it, and we want this thing to be like the new fun party game, so we can all quit our jobs and be the next Cards Against Humanity. But also, it's fun.
That's all anyone could ever really strive to be, But Ross, thank you so much for coming on. I know we sucked a lot of your Thursday night away. But this was a blast.
Normally I'm the suck.
Yeah, exactly. It all came full circle.
Yeah,
and it wrapped up. It's like a nice Ouroboros. You know what that is, Alex? It's the snake that eats itself.
Oh, okay.
Yep, I know that because of Resident Evil 5. But if you're at PAX upcoming, you can go and check out the live show. Hopefully, we'll bump into you guys there. Be able to
PAX
say,
East. See you there.
Yes, PAX East. It is. Obviously, I'm getting a little bit excited. It's my favorite show of the year, but should be fun. Yeah, again, huge thanks. This was a total blast. Best of luck with the Kickstarter and the webcomic and the Super Art Fight and PAX East and all that stuff. And I believe that's going to do it for this week. So until next time, I have been JR.
I'm Alex.
And I've been Ross.
And this has been episode 314. It's the pie episode. The 3.14.
Awesome. Nice.
Yeah. It's the only time we're ever going to be able to have this.
Oh, man.
And we're just bringing it up an hour and a half in.
Whoops.
Oh, well. Opportunity lost. It's been episode 314 of Opinions May Vary.